Till the morning, sipping whiskey till I get walk straight.
Finished work for the day, in my car and ready to head home to see Doug Stanhope with Dave tonight.
Double D. Literally just filming your bum walking.
You're next.
37, 38.
Yeah.
Now they good seats.
Right, it's the morning after Doug Stanhope. We didn't film a roundup and a review of Doug Stanhope last night because we didn't get in till 1 in the morning, did we?
No, it was about 2 actually, and a lot of the pubs and clubs were pretty noisy, like everyone we went into thinking that we'd have just a little quiet spot in a pub to discuss it was not happening.
No, it's Friday night in Manchester, so it's not going to be quiet anyway. I bumped into a couple of old friends as well, so shout out to Carter and Dean if you watch these.
Yeah, went
Sounds
to a
like
couple
a paint
of
company, doesn't it?
Carter and Dean. It does a little bit actually. Went to one of our old stomping grounds. Obviously, before we knew each other, we worked out that we both spent a lot of time in the same places in Manchester, so we've definitely crossed paths, but just never noticed each other, which is always interesting to see how small the world actually is.
Oh yeah, big time. But yeah, we went to Doug Stanhope at the Apollo last night. He was great. He was exactly what you'd expect from Doug Stanhope. He came out, he was on magic mushrooms, and he was drinking the whole time. He was absolutely smashed.
Well, he said edibles. He said he was avoiding the magic mushrooms.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
Because he was avoiding the psilocybin because he went into a long bit about being paranoid and then going, like, travelling to get high. So he's on the edibles at the moment, he was saying.
You're right there, which he said was like a midway to shrooms, wasn't it? It was like
sort of like that, and going hardcore and then lightly.
It was really good. Exactly what you'd expect from Doug Stanhope. Very offensive. Like, the couple next to us left, didn't they?
They did. One of the ladies got quite frustrated and she left, and obviously the fella went out to check on her, and about 15 minutes later he came back for her coat.
What was the bit? Do you remember?
It was the abortion bit.
I thought it was the abortion bit. Yeah, I thought it would be.
I mean, it was actually quite tame for Doug Stanhope. I was expecting a bit more like offensiveness with that, but
he got very offensive with other bits.
He did, yes. He did. Super offensive with the other bits.
He's a provocateur, that's for sure. But he did a whole bit about putting down his dog towards the end
It was
that was
so
just like
fucking funny.
It really was.
I was crying. Like, my favourite bit was definitely the discussion about conspiracy theories and how much he loves it. And he's just like basically saying that 9/11 was more interesting than COVID.
Yeah, we can't give too much away.
No, obviously,
other people
but,
might be watching the talk,
but
I think a lot of last night was riffing as well, though, because what actually happened is we got there at 7, the show started at 8, and we expected him to have an opener. We expected there to be some sort of support act. So at 8 o'clock, while people are still coming in, the lights are up, the doors are still open, he just walked out on stage and just started talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this the start of the show?
Yeah.
Is this, is he just sort of fucked and he's going, so up first is blah, 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 like he's being a compere as well.
Yeah.
But
that's what they call compares. I couldn't remember the name. I kept calling it a presenter, but I said to you at first, I didn't even recognise him because we were so unexpected. When he walked out, I was like, is this the guy introducing the acts? Is this going to be the guy that, hey, welcome
only one
to
person
Manchester Apollo?
Only one person in the world wears suits like that.
No, he's not.
Like that, yeah. That's
not.
Doug Stanhope's style.
I've seen a few people dressed like that, but it's not just specifically his
I suppose
style.
you're African, and in Zimbabwe, did they have the guys that dress up in the really
eccentric, very bright coloured suits?
They walk around and do like certain dances in the suits.
Yes,
I love that.
Like, I think I've shown you that advert about Chibuku. Remember, and he has those like brightly coloured socks, and he's wearing that really over eccentric like suit that is very Zimbabwean to be very eccentric with your colours. And he pulls up his trousers to lie on the floor because he's waiting for the Chibuku truck to arrive. Chibuku. If you don't know, if you're not Zimbabwean, obviously Chibuku is the local like beer. I would relate it more to like Mother's Milk back in the day. It comes in this big like brown plastic barrel with a blue lid, and it's just ridiculous. Like there's chunks in it and stuff. So
sounds interesting.
Well, I found a Zimbabwean shop here in the UK, and I'm going to order us some things to try out because I'd like you to try some of our Zimbabwean delicacies. Yeah,
I think it was great. It was great last night. My only slight criticism is the lack of a support act, because if the doors had been shut, everyone was seated, the lights had gone down, and then he came out, you'd know what to expect. But for the first 10 minutes I was going, is this it? And then I'm thinking, it's only 8 o'clock, there's no way he's going to do more than an hour.
No.
So then I'm thinking to myself, it's just going to be a short set, we're going to be done by 9. And there was a little bit of confusion about it for me personally. Whereas if someone would have come out, I mean, even if everything just would have been sorted and everyone was seated when he came out, and then you knew that it was just Doug Stanhope talking for 2 hours, I would have settled in quicker.
Yeah, I did notice you kept sort of glancing towards the doors and things as he was starting. I was enthralled because his first bit was obviously about getting high and being paranoid, and it was absolutely hilarious. I was completely absorbed. And I agree that there should have been maybe something in between, or at least an interval, because it was only like when he said, I'm nearing the end, he made a comment about it. And I looked at my watch and I was like, oh my gosh, like an hour and 40 minutes has already passed, and I didn't even notice. I did start yawning at some of the content. I was just like,
he was riffing for a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think, if there would have been a support act, or if there would have been an interval, as a comedian, though, if you're going to do 2 hours, I don't think you can walk off stage and go and have a break. If you're in the zone, you've just got to keep going.
It depends, doesn't it? Because I've shown you those clips of Lee Evans where he goes and changes because he gets so sweaty.
Yeah.
So.
But I would have liked another beer. 10 minutes before the show started, I went to the toilet, and obviously you've got to get everyone to get up so you can get out your aisle. And I was like, I want another beer, but there's going to be an interval or something. So there was a queue for the bar, so I thought, I'll leave it, I'll get one in a bit.
Yeah.
And then sat down, and then didn't move for 2 hours.
Yeah, your bum went numb, didn't it?
It did, and I ran out of beer as soon as he came out on stage.
Yeah, we were really thirsty by the end of it. Yeah. The first thing when we came out was, we ain't going to stop, we're going to go straight to the pub.
Yeah. I didn't want to get up, because I didn't know how long he was going to do.
No.
So in my mind I was thinking, I'm going to get up and go to the bar, and by the time I come back he's going to go, that was great, cheers guys. And I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss anything because he was hilarious. He was really good.
I went really hoarse, didn't I? Like I almost lost my voice. I was laughing so much. Like seriously, that conspiracy thing just had me in absolute stitches.
He's the biggest, most famous comic I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think he's probably the biggest I've ever seen as well.
Yeah, because we look at comedy.
I've seen Ross Noble at the Palace Theatre.
Actually, I saw Tim Minchin.
Oh, you got to see Tim Minchin.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my favourite. You know, he wrote my favourite love song. It's
You grew on me like a tumour.
Like a tumour. Yeah. You spread through me like malignant melanoma. Come on, it combines science and love like gold.
Well, Office Bloke Dad hates musical comedy, as we all know by this point. But I think you've got to look at Tim Minchin as not musical comedy. Yeah. You've got to look at it as going to a musical concert.
Yeah.
Like I used to love Bill Bailey. Sorry, I had loads of his DVDs. That's all musical.
But
you've got to see it like you're going to see a band live, and you know the hits, and you're there for the hits, rather than comedy as such, where you're there for the left turns and the sort of misdirection and catch you off guard.
Yeah, no, It's like when if you were going to go see Lee Evans, it'd be the same thing. Like you're fully expecting at the end of it because he's also a musician. Like in some of his shows, he's brought his dad out because his dad is a musician as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good actually. You showed me a bit.
Yeah, he's really good. I absolutely adore Lee Evans. Trying to think of other like comedians that do like music and stuff. But you're right, Bill Bailey is definitely a big one.
Yeah.
Tim Minchin, obviously.
Well, we'll get back to Doug Stanhope.
Yes.
You give me your opinion or breakdown or your summary.
For me, I absolutely love it. Like I like offensive kind of things because that makes you proper go, oh, did you just see that?
There's plenty of moments where even I was going, oh, fucking hell. I cannot believe you said that.
I definitely had a couple of those moments. Like, once or twice when he tried, like I said to you, he definitely tested the water the first time when he made reference to the Queen, and quite a number of the crowd were like, oh, that's a little too far, mate. But you can't be offended if you're going to see someone who is
an
offensive
comic.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything about the Queen as such, other than the fact he just went, I just don't give a fuck. It's nothing to do with me.
I know,
and the whole crowd just went, ooh.
But
I thought that was it. Whereas you think he may have had a bit about the Queen and backtracked on it.
It was the way he paused when the whole crowd just sort of went, ooh. Like at first he praised the crowd and he was saying apparently across the world, every place he's been to, they rave about the Stanhope fans and crowd because most well behaved or whatever, or remember that we bought tickets almost a year ago.
I'm not sure it was well behaved. I think it's just because his type of comedy is very edgy. I think his fans are expecting edgy, so you're not gonna a support act isn't going to support Doug Stanhope and come out and offend people.
Yeah.
You can kind of say whatever you want, and as long as it's funny, people are going to laugh because people are so used to his comedy.
Oh, definitely.
So open to it.
And I will admit, I was hoping for more women. I'm not trying to be funny about it.
Have you seen the comments on YouTube?
I did about when you tagged us.
Or is that on my Instagram?
No, it's on your Office Blokes React to Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
And obviously I commented saying that we were heading out to go and see them.
Yeah.
You pinned it, and then someone responded and was like, I think African Ash is going to be a bit isolated.
In the minority.
Yeah, minority. Yeah. But there were a few. I get why the whole, term was coined, Karens, because people shouldn't get offended. It's just funny that nobody means it in the way that it comes out. And
I think Doug Stanhope meant most of what he said last night.
Well, he means it, but he doesn't mean offence to other people.
Yeah.
He's just giving his opinion, and that is what a comedian is.
Yeah.
And that's why I like that expression. Offence is often taken, not given.
Yeah.
Not in every circumstance, obviously. It's, situational, but...
The stuff about abortion was not what you'd expect from someone that's an extremely liberal, sort of person that he is.
I know.
He took a stance on it that caught me off guard, and there was a girl sat in front
See,
of me.
I totally agreed with it the whole way through. I was clapping.
He first took a stance just saying it that was actually the opposite of what you'd expect.
Yeah.
But then he went into a bit that kind of backed up what he just said. But it was, and I'm not going to give anything away because other people are going to watch the tour, and I don't know if he's doing this in America as well, or
he
how much
made
of it
that.
was throwaway bits, or, you know, because it seemed like he was riffing a lot last night.
But he did make a comment that he obviously catered his like whole performance around US and Americans, and he was not going to change that for us, and it was like, oh right, okay.
He did though a bit. He did.
He did a little.
He did a bit. But yeah, the girl that was sat in front, I could tell you what her opinions are just by looking at her on everything. I could tell you, I could break down all of her opinions. And then when he took that stance initially on the Roe v. Wade thing, and people were going, oh, fuck, she was like, yeah, woo, and she was clapping, and I'm like...
Yeah, she was trash.
Yeah, but
she was absolutely trash.
I was thinking, I don't think you know what you're clapping at.
No.
I think you're just hearing Doug Stanhope make noise, and you're going, yeah, woo.
Well, it's like, I don't even think she realised that Bingo was his wife. I think
she did. She was a fan.
You sure?
Yeah, she definitely
I
was.
thought she was like referring, because at one point she said, we love Bingo here. And I was like, yeah, I know the British like their bingo halls.
No,
he realised he's talking about his wife.
She absolutely knew. She was a fan, yeah. She was just pissed and she wasn't paying attention, I don't think. But without a doubt, she was a Doug Stanhope. Yeah.
It was funny when like she shouted out and he like obviously Doug Stanhope shut her down instantly.
It was one of the best
shutdowns.
It's one of the best shutdowns I've ever heard. But it's so interchangeable that any heckler, the line he used to get back would cover any heckler, and it was genius.
It was
and again,
absolutely
like
gold.
don't want to ruin anything because I don't know if he gets heckled again on the tour, if he's going to use the same line, or maybe it's just it's something he's a go-to for him. But it was a really clever put down that instantly turned the crowd on the person that heckled.
Yeah, absolutely. And then even her fella, because obviously we were sat right in like behind them, like proper told her off, and she just went really quiet after that, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then you were laughing because it was annoying you because she was like drinking like out of her beer cup like this like. It's like bring it up to your mouth, woman. Like seriously.
There's some little mannerisms that I get irritable. Like as you've noticed now. If I go to the cinema, if I go to live comedy, things like that, I'm a lot more irritable because I'm just waiting for someone to fucking ruin it. And like, if someone's just rustling crisps too much, I sound like Office Boy Daz now, so I'm not moaning. But if I'm like, you know, if someone's chatting in the cinema, or if someone's got their phone out and I can sense the glowing blue light on their face over there, it annoys me and it ruins my enjoyment of it.
I get that.
Which is, it's me being a bit too high alert in that situation. But there's certain mannerisms and there were certain things she was doing where I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
See, I think I can sort of zone it out, but I think that's from years of being in boarding school and having hundreds of girls around me, and you just have to kind of learn to just
I'm waiting
block
for
it
some
out.
fucker to ruin it all the time.
Really?
In that situation, I'm waiting for... And then there was loads of hecklers that got talked over. Like, you could tell Stanhope was looking at the person heckling and just carried on with his bit.
Oh yeah, he was completely ignoring it. Yeah. But I loved as well that the crowd was so good last night. Like, they were even shutting down the hecklers and just being like, shut up.
None of the heckles were good.
No, they were rubbish.
There was not a single clever heckle last night. It was just people trying... One of them, it sounded like a guy said about 4 sentences. And it's like, if you're going to say something clever, it's going to have to be short and snappy, and the crowd are going to go, hey... But it was like he was trying to have a rant. It sounded like there was an argument at one point at the back as well. I don't know if you heard that.
I did hear that. I think that was Rin, that one guy that he's saying like the 4 sentences was getting told off because he'd heckled about 2 times because there'd been like 3 or 4 heckles and 2 of them was for him. One was when the girl sat in front of us who got shut down.
Yeah.
And I think because she got shut down, someone else tried. And then just it just like fizzled out, like it got completely ignored, like completely brushed over, so it wasn't even noticed.
I'm not against heckling in comedy. I think there's a place for it.
Yeah.
I think, but there's certain bits, and you don't interrupt someone halfway through doing a bit or doing a joke. And if you're going to heckle, you better make it funnier than the person that's on stage.
Well, yeah.
Otherwise, you're just some dick that's just shouting out.
Well, it's the same as like I actually quite enjoyed when I went to see Ross Noble. That it was around the time that all the controversy was coming out about Jimmy Savile, and the first thing he said when he got on stage is, "Do not heckle me about Jimmy Savile."
Yeah.
And nobody did up until a certain point. And do you know what? Like you're saying, like it was absolutely perfectly timed. And I can't remember the context, but it was like even Ross Noble sort of just like stood there and was like, yeah, right, I'll give you that. It was like, yeah, okay.
Some heckles are funny.
Yeah, they are.
I'm not, like I say, I'm not against heckling whatsoever. Just make it clever and do it at the right time. Halfway through a joke, you've killed all the momentum of that joke, and we paid to see the person that's there, not
knobhead back here.
If you think you're that funny, go and do an open mic night,
right?
And maybe do it yourself and make people laugh.
Definitely. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed it. But I think we both agreed, as much as we want to keep an eye out for other big performers, because you did mention that Bill Burr is coming.
No, it's not confirmed he's coming, but he is on tour.
He's on
tour in the States.
Right. I'm sure he was saying that they've been talking about, because he said you're not worth the Bill Burr. So I was like, ouch.
Yeah, he said you're not worthy of Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I think, or something. Or Bill Burr. Yeah, there was something like that. But there was a few name drops as well. Like Stanhope obviously started talking about Rogan at one point, and Bert Kreischer, and
and the
Tom
Stop
Segura,
October they talked about.
Yeah, Sober October.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Sober October, not Stop October.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Stop October?
No, Sober October.
Sober October.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I want to go. I prefer smaller venues for comedy. I'm not going to lie.
We've had some really good
We've been to the
ones.
Frog and Bucket. I'd love to see Stanhope at the Frog and Bucket doing what he did. But again, how many tickets did he sell last night? That was a big venue, and it was 70 odd percent full.
74% at capacity.
Yeah.
And the Apollo Manchester is quite a big venue.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was amazing.
There's a couple of thousand people there, wasn't there? Easy.
Well, considering the up above as well, I'd say up to at least 900,000 people there.
900,000 people.
No, 900 or up to 1,000.
I think there was a couple of thousand.
I'm not sure. I think he would have needed it. That's more the Palace Theatre space. The Apollo's not as big as the theatre.
I think. Well, we'll see. We can Google it. We can
Google it and find out.
But yeah, I was looking because Rogan's coming and playing London.
Ooh.
But I've got the kids that weekend.
Ah, right.
So I don't think it's going to happen. It would have been cool to have a trip to London and stuff, but we'll keep our eye on it. And if Bill Burr is touring and anyone knows about it, fucking DM me instantly. Well, I want to be in the front. I don't care what it costs. I want to be in the front.
Get proper roasted.
Yeah.
I'm definitely up for a few more of the small comedy nights, because when like you're saying, we've been to Frog and Bucket, when there's been 3 people separately. It was a shame that the last time the headliner was the exact same person we saw on one of our first comedy dates.
I turned to you and went, I've heard these jokes before. Is he stealing these jokes?
I didn't recognise him because he'd taken his beard off. Because when we first saw him, he had a big gruff beard, and then all of a sudden he was completely clean shaved. It's amazing how it can change a person's face.
Big time, yeah.
So I didn't recognise him until he started talking about that bit with his sisters and then the dream he had. And then I was like, oh yeah, no, I recommend that.
I saw him in Salisbury a couple of weeks later.
Oh, it's like that guy that was, that he came on, I cannot remember his name.
Dan Tiernan.
That was it, the dyspraxic. Yeah. And he kept saying, I'm dyspraxic. And literally where I live, just here, this is my flat. Just down the road, I was driving home from work and I just saw him on the corner, and I was so tempted to drive past, if I'd had time, roll my window down and be like, oh, you dyspraxic. Although I can't say that on YouTube. Sorry.
I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it. Dan Tiernan. We saw him at the Frog and Bucket, and he was really, really funny.
Really funny.
But
all of his stuff, when we looked on YouTube, was exactly the same.
It's the same set going back a couple of years, which a lot of people do. But maybe he just has only released the stuff he's willing to burn through.
Maybe.
And does different stuff when you see him live. I don't know.
Who knows?
But
be interesting to see. But
he was so funny that I was so hungry for more content from him. And when we just kept finding that same set, I was just a bit like...
Nah. But I felt the same way with that African guy. He was absolutely hilarious. And that was the second time we went to the Frog and Bucket.
Yeah.
It probably helped I was a little bit tipsy, and I was so excited because I was like, hey, fellow African! Although I was hoping he wouldn't just shut me down like that. But as soon as he was like, oh, who's been to an African church? And I was like, me! And I was like the only one in the whole crowd. And he was like, oh, which African church? And I was like, oh, I grew up in Zimbabwe. And he went, yeah, we believe that. And then carried on. I was like, oh,
where was he from?
I can't remember. I feel like...
I thought he was Ghanaian for some reason.
He might have been Ghanaian. I think he actually mentioned the Gambia.
Right.
So I can't remember. But everyone knows not to talk about Zimbabwe for some reason. Any time they go, oh, well, we'll just slide over that.
Well, either way, go and catch Stanhope on this tour. I think he's in the UK for another couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
He said he was here for 2.5 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know where else he's playing, because we just we bought the tickets about 7 months ago.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Kept getting pushed back, but it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not much else to say, really.
No, because we can't give away too much, just it was absolutely brilliant. We had a fabulous night, had some really good time like in the pubs as well, then bumping into your mates, and then going to a place in Manchester that's called the Grand Central, or GC as it's known, and it is the place to be if you want to hear good music. And the atmosphere is just brilliant, and that's where we spent a lot of our youths not knowing each other, but obviously we were in the same space all the time.
I was banned from there for 6 months.
Why does that not surprise me?
Can't really talk about that.
Why does that not surprise me?
It was a long time ago, and actually I wasn't one of the perpetrators. It was guilty by association for the stuff that had happened.
Okay.
But it actually ended up, that situation went on for a few weeks, and someone ended up in court for a very, very serious offence. It was in the newspapers and stuff. One of the guys I was with, sort of, again, that's why I can't really go into it. He got charged but never convicted for this offence, but I mean he's dead now as well, so I could probably
I thought I had a wild youth. Like you've definitely been more on the edge than me.
I said I wasn't one of the perpetrators involved that day, but I was with a big group and people were fighting, and some people were stealing from a local supermarket and bringing bottles of wine into the bar.
I mean, we used to do that. I used to stick the little mini airplane bottles. They used to line my bra.
No, but this was blatant. This was like under our table was like 10 bottles of wine, loads of beers.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, but I was buying my beer in there. But then one of the guys that had been nicking all the stuff that came back in, tried to fight one of the other guys, and they stood up and knocked a load of drinks over and started swinging at each other. And
I mean, that happened all the time in Rockall and Gillies anyway. Even in GC, it was
one of them where they were like, they knew we were being lively all day, and that was the final straw. They just went, right, you're done.
True.
And I tried to go back in for my birthday like a week later, and they went, no, you're bad. I was like, I didn't even do anything. But yeah, I kind of, maybe in the future, I don't know if I can talk about what happened with that guy. I'm not, like I say, he's dead now, so he's not going to get any trouble.
No, but it might upset the family. We've always got to be gentle about that. So it's like even some
I don't
true
condone
crime
what they were doing,
YouTubers I watch, they'll tend to like say we can't talk about the victim's family, because of the families and stuff like that. It's just respect.
I wasn't part of all nicking and stuff like that. I was buying my beer, which all responsible grown-ups should do.
You're wobbling the camera, bub. Look at that, great content.
Look at that little bit where I cleaned your table for you.
No, you didn't.
Right then.
I cleaned this flat a load before you came round. Are you still making the camera wobble?
Clean your table with my socks.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Which one's the bad one?
Yeah, there's the one. It's got a huge hole in it.
Oh
my god!
Anyway, all my socks and my boxes. Cheers for that, guys.
Yeah.
I mean we've waffled on for quite a while now.
I know,
25 minutes.
We might have to shorten that.
And all the footage that's come before it was leaving work and actually going to the night and stuff. But it was really good, and there's going to be loads more comedy content on here because we love going to comedy nights, don't we?
And clearly you can tell we like to talk absolute garbage. Bollocks, as the British say. Right, well, we'll sign off. I'm getting blinded by the sun now that it's moving. And we'll see you on the next video, guys.
Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers.
Bye, guys.